When you come home from work, what is the one hobby that you really like to do? Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, wouldn't it be great if you could get paid for that hobby? If you could make money doing that? I was fortunate enough to be in that situation back in college. I was a dancer at Busch Gardens at theme park in Williamsburg, Virginia. And I danced in the German show. And I did this for every single summer in college and the MBA program. Then here I was, interviewing for a job at Price Waterhouse. Well, you can't leave it off your resume because then it looks like you never had a job. What do you say about that? How are you going to sell that I danced the polka for a living for 5 summers? Well, it turns out that I was able to sell that, or tried to at least. The 5 elements of the polka, P-O-L-K-A. But let me first explain to you what the job was. We all stood in the back, and a band came out, sat on a round stage, started to play Oompa music, and the stage went up. Then there we were as the dancers. We came in, hands on our hips, and occasionally started doing our little turns. And we were ready for the show, and we got up on the stage and danced around the stage. That was my job, dancing and singing. It was fabulous. How did I sell it? P, persistence. I didn't just wake up one day and go, yeah, I know how to dance. No, I started dancing when I was 7 years old. I took dance lessons from the choreographers at Busch Gardens so that they would know me. But when we got to the show, I'd never done polka before, I'd never done partner dancing before, none of that. So we were all a little frustrated, and we had 3 weeks to learn the show. And then we had a lot of practicing. Well, it turns out half of the cast were singers, the other half were dancers. I had a partner, great guy, football player, didn't know his right from his left. But he sang really well. But here we were trying to figure out the polka, and I'm trying to get him to twirl me around in the right way. And he was so frustrated at himself. He kept saying, you know, I don't have it, I can't get it, I'm slow, but I guarantee to you, once I get it, I'll never forget it. I saw this guy in New York City about 4 months ago. He still had it. Once he got it, through those 4 weeks of rehearsal, he got it, and it's still there. To this day, we hear the music, and we go right into the routine. It's great. Well, you need that in your day job, don't you? Persistence. Some of you who know me know that about 3 years ago, I really wanted to work for the marketing department. There was no position to be had. Instead, I started working with the marketing department on a project basis. Well, guess what? Same kind of thing. They knew me. I started working with them more. Boom, there's an open position. It's mine. So, persistence. Open-mindedness. Everybody at Busch Gardens wanted to be on the main stage show. I auditioned with TAP, and the main stage show was great. I mean, it was really like being on Broadway. You could have 20 different costume changes, switch out different partners. It was fabulous. They knew I was from Germany. They put me in the German show. Back to the polka. The thing is, it turns out that the Festhaus show, or the German show, was the show that more people in the park saw than any other show. Maybe it was because they served beer in the Festhaus. But people could come in the main stage show. Once the doors were closed, you couldn't come in. All of my friends got to see me. I got to perform at this show over 2,000 times. And we had audience participation, so when I did see people I knew, I could grab them out of the audience and bring them up for a polka. We had audience participation and put them on the spot. I had more fun, I think, in that show than I would have had in the other show. Open-mindedness. So when I was interviewing, here I was, interviewing for Price Waterhouse. If you'd asked me 4 months before that, I wouldn't have been able to tell you what a consultant did. But I was open enough to at least listen to what they had to say, get the job described, and ended up taking it. The L of polka is laughter. Because we spend too much time at work, really, for us not to enjoy it. Now, we got a little sarcastic sometimes in the show. We had a maypole dance. We had this big maypole, lots of ribbons, winding and unwinding. And we called it the kiddie maypole because we had to get little kids to come up and dance with us. Great when there are a lot of people in the show, not so great in the last show when all the kids were already asleep. So we'd be up there, oh, we hate to do this song. It's so boring and too long. And the trumpet solo squeaks. this darn dance goes on for weeks and weeks. But think about it the next time you have to fill out an Excel template, and in my case, somebody just told me to put my speaker notes from a PowerPoint in an Excel sheet. Focus on what you like about your job, make a joke about the rest of it, and move on. Collaboration, K. For those of you that know how to spell, remember I said open-mindedness? We all need to collaborate. We had 5 couples on a round stage, and it was very exact. 2 over here at the end of every dance, 2 over here, 1 in the middle. What if this guy overshot with his partner, and all of a sudden, you had 2 people up in the front? You need to have an open mind. What is the rest of your team doing? So those of us, we would just have to suddenly turn to the next, so that we would all move as a unit. But you have to keep your eyes open in order to do that. And what team do you know doesn't need collaboration? You know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, you have to figure out how to work together. And then finally, A, ad-lib. The ability to think on your feet is important everywhere. So let me give you a quick story. A guy from LA Law was in the audience one time, and after by show 300, we all thought we had it. We're doing the adult maypole this time, and a guy unwound incorrectly. Well, when you unwind the ribbons incorrectly, he took the wrong pattern, we ended up with a huge knot on the side of the maypole. So by the end of the dance, we ran out of ribbon, and we're thinking, we're not done with the dance. Somebody just yelled polka, and we started polkaing around the stage. We polkaed for 3/4 of that dance, but we polkaed. If you hadn't seen the show before, you probably wouldn't have noticed unless you were sitting on the side with a big knot. On that side, I don't think they ever realized. Ad-lib, the ability to think on your feet. So you need to do that. Who hasn't been in a keynote where suddenly the slides stop working? All of a sudden somebody doesn't meet their deadlines in a project plan. You have to have a plan B, or a plan C, or a plan P for Polka. Did I get the job at Pricewaterhouse? Yes, I did. So I encourage all of you, whatever hobbies you have, there's probably something about that hobby that you can translate into your real life, and it might not have to involve somebody polkaing. Toastmaster.